We're in Tzadik Zion, right in the middle of the Amud. It says the first word on the line is B'Bailim, Amrule Rabbanin, the Rabbah. So they said that this list of things, that these different types of services that people do for the community, if they're doing them at the time when they're doing them, Be'idan Abidasayu Kishela B'Bailim Damu, that at that moment, if someone would borrow something, if the person that's getting the service would borrow from them, that would be Sheila, mamash like Sheila B'Bailim. Amrulei Rabbanan, the Rabbanan said L'Rava, because it was Rava that originally was asking these questions. Shoelan Ma. So they asked the Rava. Rava brought down these cases, but then the Rabbanan who were learning from Rava asked him, Shoelan Ma. Well, Rav is teaching us Torah. Maybe he is lent to us. Maybe he's serving us. That if we would borrow something from Rava at this moment, that we would have all we would be potter if anything happened to the Sheila. Ikbid, Rava was angry. So Amar lahu, la'afkuye mimoinai kabisi bisoi. What do you want to try to get out of having to pay me back money? That's what you're trying to say, that I'm teaching you, I'm serving you, so if you would borrow from me, you would have the patur. You're trying to get out of money. Is that what you're asking? Adrab, it's the other way around. The fact that you're listening to me now, and if I wanted to switch to a new masechta to do chazor of another masechta that I wanted to, you wouldn't be able to stop me. You would be here listening, and I would get to have chazor of another masechta. So you're here serving me. So if I borrowed from you, I would have the patur of Sheila B'Bailim. Adraba, Osun Sheilason Li, you're serving me. Te'ilu anomatzi ishtemute. If I wanted, I could switch to the new masechta and start doing chazor with you on a new masechta. Ason lo metzisai lishtamute. You can't like switch me right now to any masechta that you want. Like you're claiming that I'm serving you by teaching you Torah. You can't tell it suddenly switch me to do chazor of a masechta that he wanted to do chazor of. So therefore, it's more like you're serving me. That's not the halacha, really. Ihu shoyel lehu b'yoma dekala, that on the day that 30 days before Chag, when they're learning the halachas of the Chag, and that's what they're gathered for. So therefore, he is serving them, because he can't switch at that moment to any other subject that he wants. He has to learn the halachas of the Chag. So therefore, when it's in that type of situation, he is serving them. And if they would borrow from him, they would have this patur. But inhu she'ilu le b'shar yomi. However, on any other days of the year, when they would be learning Torah from somebody, so they, the listeners, are be serving the Rebbe, because the Rebbe could switch to a new masechta, and it would be like they're serving him to be helping him to do chazor of his learning. Rema bar Chanina Oiger Kodnaisa Behuzai, that Remar, he rented out a mule to the people of Chuzai, Novak Lidluye Tuuna Badayo. So he went out to be with them as they were packing up the animal. Porshu Bo V'Meis, that they were negligent with the animal, and the animal dropped dead, died. So he wanted his money from them for being chayav on Peshia. So Meis also made the Rava, he came to Rava Chayivinu, and the Rava was mechayev the Bei Chuzai to pay him. So Ormu the Rabbanan, who were the ones who had rented the animal, the Rava, it says he rented it, but maybe he borrowed it. So they said that the Rav Pshia b'Bailim, we're not chayev. This is Pshia. The true negligence happened, but the Bailim was with us. Kila, we said he went out with us as we were packing the animal. The understanding is he was like almost helping pack the animal. So if that's true, that Pshia b'Bailim, so there's a tour, he doesn't have to pay even for Pshia. So Ichsif, so Rava was embarrassed because he said chayev, and if the Bailim was really helping pack up the animal, that would have been b'Bailim. Pshia b'Bailim, there should be a patur for that. So the soif igle milsa the lemesar tu'unahu tinafak. That in the end, it was revealed that when Rava said chayev, they should be chayev to pay meremar, and it wouldn't be pshia b'Bailim because it wasn't pshia, because when Meimar went out, he didn't go out to help them. He went out to be mashgiach over them and not to help at all, just to make sure they didn't put too much, they didn't overload the mule. That's not called helping. And therefore, that's the fact that it died, it was pshia without the bailing.
So the owner has to be specifically helping.
I have to be serving.
Not just sticking around there, not just sort of standing around,
right,
looking, or just to see if his interests are being served.
Right.
He's got to actually be serving them by helping with them.
Yeah, he has to be serving them. Right. Serving them at the time of, I guess, the loan, lending out the object.
If he's demonstrating something for them, that's serving them too, isn't it?
That could probably be serving them, yeah. Do not think. So the Gemara says, he was embarrassed, Rava was embarrassed because mashma that if he was helping them pack the animal, it would have been pshia b'Bailim, and they would have been potter. So he was embarrassed. In the end, it wasn't with the Bailim that they were pshia. It was without the Bailim. But there's a machlokus in this about when there's pshia, which with Sheila, with borrowing, when they're mamish negligent, if the borrower has a patur on, generally they're chayav on negligence, just like they're chayav on everything, except the misa machmas malacha. When there's a machlokus in the patur with the bailim, when the bailim is with them, if there's a patur on negligence. There's one mandam that says that there's no patur of bailim imo with negligence. So it's the fact that he was embarrassed that they should have been patur is mashma. That's good according to the manda omer that says that there is a patur on pshia b'bailim. Hanich lemanda omer pshia b'bailim patur. Mishum hachi ichse. That's why Rava was embarrassed. El lemanda omer chayev. So then that you're chayev, that even with the bailim, if there was negligence, there's no patur. So then why would he even be embarrassed? He was mechayev then to pay a meimar, and that would be the right halacha. According to that manda omer, that even if the bailim was with them, they would be chayev. So amai ichsip, why would they be embarrassed? Because it wasn't pshia. True. Where there machlokas, when a shoyel will be patur with the bailim, is when they were totally negligent. Then we can say there's a machlokas. But if there was anything less than negligence, then they would have the patur of bailim imo. So pshia pershu'ubo. Lo mifsha pasha, it wasn't a case of negligence with the bailim. It was a case less than negligence. It was a case of onus with the bailim, where there would be a patur, and that's why Rava would have been embarrassed, because they should have been patur if the bailim was with them packing up the animal. Ela ignuve ignaif, the mesa kidarka begana. That was the case, that it was more like onus. And therefore they should have been patur heavy. Also likmei the Rava. So that's what the case was. It was stolen from them as the bailim was like there with them as they were packing it up. And then they came to Rava, and Rava said they're chayev to pay a meimar. V'chayev inu. So Omer Rabbanan, the Rabbanan said to Rava, why? The bailim was with us. The Rava, gneva b'bailim, it's gneva b'bailim, we should be patur. Ichsif, and Rava was embarrassed, and that that he had said that they are chayav. The Sov Igle Mills, in the end, it was revealed that he wasn't helping them pack, he was just there being mashkiach. Delimsa tu'unahu dinafak. That's why he went out with them, just to supervise that they wouldn't overpack the mule. Therefore, now it makes sense that Rava was embarrassed. It was talking about a case where it was stolen at that point, and they should have been pater. And in the end, his psak was correct that they should be chayav because he wasn't helping them pack the animal. So that is, we see that if the bailim would be helping the borrower, would be serving the borrower in any way, at the time of the Sheila, of the borrowing, giving over of the borrowed object, there would be the patur. And there's a machlokas when it comes to negligence. Mishnah as a para, someone who borrowed a para from somebody. Sheila chetziyom v'schoro chetziyom. Half the day where he would be borrowing it, the other half he would be renting it, paying for it. Sheila or Sheila hayom v'schoro v'machar. One day he's borrowing it, the next day he's renting it. Sochor achas v'shoal achas. He took two animals. One he was renting, and the other he was borrowing. And then it died. Mesa. We're talking about the last case. One died. The Mesa died. Hamashil wants to claim that the one that he was borrowing died because a person who was borrowing, since he's kol ha'ana shelo, all the hana is for him because he's not paying for it. He's just using it and getting benefit from something without paying for it. That's why he's responsible for every different levels of damages that happen to it. So the owner, the mashil, wants that it went on the animal that was being borrowed, and then he will be reimbursed because when it died. Whereas if it was onus and he was renting it, he would be pater for oinsim. A renter, a seicher, or a shomer sacher, or a seicher is chayiv for gneva v'aveda. It's pater for oinsim. So if it just dropped dead, he wouldn't have had to pay the owner. But if he was a borrower, he would have to pay the owner. So the owner, the mashil, omer, she'ula mesa, that it was the borrowed animal that died. And then, or in the case, b'yoim sha'isa she'ula, or if it was one animal, it was the day that he was borrowing it, mesa, it died, and then he will be paid back for it. Or b'sha sha'isa she'ula mesa, or when he was half the day he was borrowing it, and the second half he was renting it, it was the hours that he was borrowing it that it died. Behold, and the other one, who is the shoyo, there that he doesn't know. So here we have a bari b'shema. The mashil is clear that it was that he deserves to be reimbursed, and the shoyel is not sure. He's a shema. And what about any yudea? Chayev. So he's chayev to pay, and this is a bari b'shema, bari adif. Whoever is definite has the rights to collect. Chayev. Rashi says Rashi's 3 lines down. The Rashi's he's chayev l'shalem the bari b'shema bari adif, because if one is not sure and the other one is 100% sure, then he gets to collect. So now, what about in the case where he borrowed it for a certain amount of the time and he rented it for other part of the time? So the soicher, like as he's renting it, he's a soicher. So the soicher omer schura mesa, that the one that he was renting died, and that's his benefit. That's to his benefit, because if he was renting it and it dropped dead, that's onus, and he's pater from having to pay it back. He's claiming that he's definite that it was they died while he was renting it, or it was the rented animal that died. Omer schura mesa, or biyom sha'isa schura mesa, or on the day that he was renting it, it died, or b'shah sha'isa schura mesa, or at the hour that he was renting it, it died. So he wants to be pater, and he's definite about it. V'hola the maskir, v'hola omer and yodea. So he's the shema. So he's pater. He's the same case. Bari v'shema, bari odif. He doesn't have to pay it. He's clear that he's pater, and the other one's not. So the one who is bari will be pater. What about if they're both equal? They're both equal definite, or they're both equally not definite. So the case where they're not definite, that's called a that's called a suffix. That's moment of motil suffix when they're both not definite. The Gemara says ze omer she'ula v'ze omer schura, meaning they're both definite. The mashil is definite that it was being died. The one that was being borrowed died, and the other one is definite that it was the one that was being rented died. They're both definite. Yeshova hasoicher sheschura mesa. That there we see that the nitva will make a shvua, and he will be pater after making a shvua. He'll be able to claim that it was the animal that was being rented, and he has the patur in that case, and he'll be pater. He can make a shvua and be pater. What about when they're both equally not sure? Zeomer eni yudea v'zeomer eni yudea. Yachloku, that's moment of motil b'safek. Yachloku, according to Sumkis. Shita. Zok the Gemara. Shmas mina. We hear from this Mishnah that in the case where the one was definite, I said the case where the mashil was definite that it was being borrowed that died, so he will collect even though it was an onus, and the other one says he doesn't know. He was able to collect. So that's the same as when one person says you have money of mine in your hand, and the other one says that he doesn't know. So he's chayav, and that's what the Gemara says. That we are able to bring on as a tiyuvta to a shita of Rav Nachman. Gemara says, Shmas mino. Hear from this. If someone would claim manoli biyodcha, if you have money of mine in your hand. In our Mishnah, the case was where the person had borrowed something from somebody else. So that was a similar case of one person having money of the other person in his hand. So if the claim will be made, you have money of mine in your hand, the other one isn't sure about it, the one that's not sure will have to pay it. That we want to bring as a tiyuvta to Rav Nachman. To the Rav Nachman, that should be a tiyuvta. Why? Because you have a brisa that says to eat monoli biyodcha. Person says that you have my money. That he doesn't know. So there's a machlokes. Rav Huna v'Rav Yehuda omrei chayiv. You have to pay. The person, again, that would be a case of bori v'shema, and he would have to pay. Rashi says. Up from the bottom 5 lines up, is chayev. It's Rav Huna Omar Rav Yehuda Shita that bari v'shema bari adif. So Omrei Rav Nachman Rav Yochanan Omrei Pater is Pater in that case. And Rashi says the next Rashi he's Pater, and the reason is because who's the Mori? Uki Mamayna Becheskas Mori. Who's holding it? Let's say the Sheila is the one holding it, and we are not sure or not because he's not sure. The Toveya is sure that it's his money. The other one is not sure. But it is by somebody. So he says leave it by the one who is holding it. Cheskes Mori v'lo tafkia misfeik. Since there is some element of suffix because the one who is holding it isn't sure if he owes it or not, so you just leave it where it is. That's the shita of Rav Nachman and Rabbi Yochanan. It's not mustaber that we paskin like that because well, that would be amotzu mechaber elara. We do paskin like that. That's the way we paskin. If there's money in somebody that's not 100% sure, that the tovei would have to bring a raya to be able to take it out from the other person. But the Gemara is explaining why this Mishnah will not be a tiyuvta to Rav Nachman, because our Mishnah where we said that the mashil was sure that he had it was the animal that was being borrowed died. It was only a special case. Kidei Rav Nachman, because Rav Nachman has a shita and also agrees to the following shita, that there are cases where the one who was buried could take out money. That was going. Sheyesh esek shvu benehim. There was like one person and the toveya, had the right to make the other person make a shvua in order to not having to pay. And if he wouldn't be able to make the shvua, he would have to pay. And that's the case of our Mishnah. There was some circumstance that the Toveya had the rights to make the nitva make a shvua. He couldn't make the shvua because he said he doesn't know. He claimed he didn't know whether the money was by him or not. When a person says, I don't know, then he can't make a shvua saying that he knows because he already said he doesn't know. And in a case like that, he has to pay. But that's the only reason. And therefore, Rav Nachman could agree with our Mishnah in a case like that. Achinami, so therefore, that's what we could say would be the case of our Mishnah. Achinami kigon sheyesh esek shvua b'neim, and that would be the reason why our Mishnah is saying that when the Toveya was bari and the Nitva was Shema, that he was able to be Motzi Mamon. And that wouldn't necessarily be wouldn't contradict Rav Nachman's Shita, and it would be because there was the esek shvua b'neihem. And we'll stop here.
That's a very good point. Sheila was